Hello, stranger.
Got some good things on sale, stranger.
I knew I could trust on you, stranger.
Not enough cash.
Stranger.
What happened to the merchant? So, AJ,
What are you buying? What are you selling?
that's it. Well, clearly Resident Evil 4 Remake, that's what we're buying.
We're back. Welcome back to the 128 KB podcast. We are here, back by lack of popular demand, to talk about all things gaming.
Oh, yes.
And this week we've got a good one.
Oh, yes.
Resident Evil
Resident Evil
4
Remake.
So it's landed, it's here, finally.
Oh, yes.
And we experiencing it in all its beauty on the Steam Deck.
Oh, yes. Yeah, we've been playing it on the Steam Deck. We've only played the Steam Deck version.
It's the only version to play.
I know. But, you know, I'm just going to say,
Yeah.
I would love to play the PS5 version purely for the haptics, for the controller experience.
Totally.
And let us know down in the comments if you know if this is possible, because I know the PC supports all the PS5 DualSense features, but I don't know if they've implemented it in the PC version of Resident Evil 4 Remake. If they have,
Okay.
I'd love that, because I could then hook up my PS5 controller and play it that way. But regardless,
Yes.
we've been playing the Steam Deck version, and first of all, it is amazing.
Okay, it's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. We're going to carry on this love for the Steam Deck because it's epic. You coined a little phrase earlier that really stuck with me. And I was like, that's actually bang on right. It's like having a portable PS4.
It is, isn't it?
So good.
It really, really is.
Probably better than the PS4, to be fair.
I'd say that. Yeah, because you can actually tailor the graphical settings precisely to how you want to play.
Yeah.
If you want like performance or quality.
So we're talking about Resident Evil 4 Remake, and I need to come clean about something.
I'm going to leave.
I never played the original. Okay,
I couldn't believe it when you told me this.
My gaming journey for Resident Evil, at least.
Yeah.
Resident Evil Director's Cut
Yeah.
on PS1.
Yep.
I loved that game.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 2 was obviously it.
Yeah.
And then they went curveball on me.
Yeah, with 3.
Yeah, and all of that nonsense. And I stopped playing Resident Evil at that point.
Yeah, I understand that. 3 wasn't my favorite at all.
And I actually stopped paying attention to them entirely.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I think we actually went back and started playing Resident Evil 2 or 1.
I think we started with 1.
That I started paying back a bit more attention, and they were releasing, I think, 7 at that time.
At the time, yeah, I think it was 7, yeah.
I was like, oh, it's actually not. I just thought they'd gone down a road and it just become this stuff that I wouldn't like. So I ignored Resident Evil 4 entirely. So I've got no experiences of the original.
But you didn't have a GameCube though, did you?
I didn't have a GameCube.
So there you go.
But also, it means that my experience of Resident Evil 4 Remake is completely fresh.
Yes.
I don't have any kind of hangover from the original. I'm not comparing it in any way. It's just in a game in of itself. And for that, it's amazing.
It's incredible.
It's actually amazing.
And I'm the exact opposite.
Yeah.
Because I like Resident Evil 4 is my thing. I know I always bang on about Metroid everywhere, but Resident Evil 4, I'd probably say, is my all-time favorite game.
More than Metroid.
Yes, yeah, I would even say that. Like Metroid, because I love Metroid as a whole.
On me.
I love Metroid as a whole, I do. But Resident Evil 4 in particular was my thing, and I've played all the Resident Evil games like multiple times over. But 4 on the GameCube back in 2004 or whenever it was. That was mind blowing. Back when Nintendo actually was in the console war for graphics and power.
Yeah.
Because the GameCube, even though it didn't sell very well, was like pretty much the most powerful system like at the time, I think. And they really did wonders. Capcom, Resident Evil 4 was only for GameCube.
Yeah.
And they really showcased the power of the GameCube and changed third-person shooters as a whole. This game changed everything.
Resident Evil 4 was my Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah. I mean, Resident Evil 4, I've said this in previous episodes. I think I've owned it on every release that they've done. Like, I've bought it on Switch again. Yeah. Even though I own it on PC and everything else and the HD remaster, like I've got so many versions of it, but I've played this game probably like 20 times.
What I loved about my first experiences of playing it was it almost feels like it was made for the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
The remake.
Yeah.
I know it wasn't.
Yeah.
But as a handheld experience, I was actually worried that it was going to be a bit cumbersome to control. That kind of shooter and that kind of survival game, the running away and the evading and stuff. I thought it might be a bit hard to control on the Steam Deck, but it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
The fact that you can remap the buttons, that changes everything.
Yes.
So you can have the control scheme in a more intuitive and ergonomic way, but it just felt and looked right.
Yeah. And it's funny because obviously on the 128 channel, I did like a first look on the demo when that came. So I downloaded it on the Steam Deck, even though still to this day, as time of recording, Resident Evil 4, even the release, isn't supported on Steam Deck. It's not actually verified or playable or anything. It's just completely... Okay. We haven't tested this yet, so we don't know if it's okay. But we can say that it runs freaking amazing.
It runs really well.
But the demo sucked. The demo really chunked.
Yes,
You know, it wouldn't even run. There was artifacting everywhere. You had to jump through some hoops.
I was worried after hearing you talk about it and seeing the demo from that video that you did that it was going to be bad.
Yeah,
it was going to be a massive flop.
Same, because I was thinking the only way I want to play this is on my Steam Deck, really, because that's all I play is my Switch and my Steam Deck. I literally don't really play anything else. So I was like, so that happened, the demo, and that was only like a couple of weeks ago?
2 weeks, 3 weeks ago?
And now the game's launched, and I'd already pre-ordered it on Steam anyway, because I was like, well, you know. And so I pre-ordered it, and I thought, oh man, this is going to be a bit of a choppy experience. The demo. Go on.
Sorry, can I ask you a question?
Yep.
Did you pre-order it digitally?
Yes.
Do you know, there's some things I'm learning about you each episode that I feel like you're cheating on me, Andy.
I think we've got a whole podcast to talk about this. No,
I
I really do. So just to give you a window into maybe a future episode after this one, we're both game collectors.
Yeah.
And I buy everything physically for Switch. Obviously, PC, there's no physicals. None. I've got probably the last physicals at home for PC still on my shelf, which are totally redundant now.
Yeah.
But now everything's digital. But I do think we need to talk about that.
Steam Deck's changing you.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, okay. I can get on board with it.
Yeah. But we'll talk about why further in another game. But anyway, with the demo, it was like 28 FPS roughly. And bear in mind, anyone that says Steam Deck, no, I don't have cryo utilities running. I don't have any plugins, so you might have had better performance. But I'm running a stock Steam Deck with a Suspense Rocket SSD in, right? So there's a little upgrade. But anyway, that happened. I thought, oh man, the game's going to run really badly. Launch day came, downloaded it. I saw Valve had said, look, we've done a Proton hotfix, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it should be all right. You know, try it out, see what you think. Loaded it up. I, went through various settings, started playing. I was like, I'm getting like almost 60 FPS here. What? And obviously I made sure to choose the settings I want. I want a good balance between good graphics and performance.
Like we spoke about in a previous podcast that FPS is king.
Yeah.
And making I'm not like one of those diehards. I don't care if it's below 60 personally.
Yeah.
As long as it can maintain an average of 60.
Yeah.
But definitely above, it needs to be above 30 at all times. Otherwise it's chugging.
Yeah. But I mean, I would happily have some more graphical fidelity and less FPS than be running the game looking like a potato and having 60. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Like 40 FPS on Steam Deck is perfect, and you can get that with Resident Evil. So I started it up, played through like the same amount that I played on the demo. It's like, this just runs amazing.
Really
and
good.
it looks so good. I still opted for volumetric lighting.
Yeah.
I put on some, I've got it on high, 2 GB high textures, all that kind of stuff. I've done a whole video about it if you want to see my specs there.
But the lighting is great.
It just looks incredible.
Really good.
Yeah.
The thing that really surprised me with the performance when we were talking about that was even when you get to that village right at the start and you're surrounded by hordes of them.
Yeah.
And you're running for your life.
There's at least 15, 20 enemies?
You must be, yeah.
Yeah.
And it maintains its performance, which is a massive credit to the Steam Deck.
Yeah. And again, this game hasn't been verified by Valve yet. They're just like, we've done a couple of Proton hot fixes. Have a go.
So
it's definitely going to be verified.
I'm definitely going to pick it up on the PS5.
Oh yeah,
just because.
Yeah. But it would look beautiful on a big screen.
Yeah,
it's
going to be great to play through. But that's my first experience of it as a new game.
Yeah. And as Resi 4 in general.
That's what I mean. On standing alone, the Resident Evil 4 Remake is a great game. If you've never played it, the original, don't worry.
Yeah.
Even if you've never played any other Resident Evil game, you can just play this.
Oh,
It's great.
I would say if you've never played a Resident Evil game, this is where you should start. I mean, you're starting high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, you should probably say one of the other ones.
Work your way up
Yeah,
to
yeah.
it.
But, if you're on the fence, there's a reason why this is one of the best games ever made.
So that's my experience of it as a new game.
Yeah.
As a diehard fan, what's it like as a remake?
Oh, it's amazing. It really is good. And I am a diehard fan.
Yeah.
Because, well, we've talked about it. But, it's so different and yet still captures the vibe and feel of Leon's journey, in Spain, in some random little village trying to find Ashley, the president's daughter, and everything's different, but they're so reminiscent of the original. So there's some things that are absolutely there from the original, but then there's some things that are totally changed, even from the beginning. Like you have to crawl through, all the trees and stuff to get to the house. In the beginning, you're just out of the house. You park up outside. You're like, hey, and that's it. And the house layout is different. In the old one, it was kind of random. It was just like a room and an upstairs. And it was like, as a house, you'd think no one could live there. It was more like a shack. Whereas now there's a basement, there's like a bedroom, and you find yourself going through it and it's more like realistic. And the journey through there just feels more, better, and when you come out of the window, the classic jump out of the window, in the remake, you're out the back and it kind of sets you up with suspense. In the first one, they throw it out the window, there's loads of enemies there and you just have to take them out. So you're just straight in on it. Whereas this time it's like, oh, right, because you thought you were going to have to kill them, the ones that are coming up to the room. Yeah. And then it cutscenes him going, well, I guess I will let myself out. He jumps out of the window.
I had no ammo left by this point because I'm useless. I'm useless at Resident Evil games, full stop. I was like, well, I'm dead. There's 3 of them. I've got a knife.
Yep.
I'll always remember Resident Evil 2 when we streamed it.
Yeah, that was so funny. That was so funny.
I died on the opening scene.
AJ couldn't move or get his weapon out. So Leon just stood there and got eaten by every zombie that came to him.
Right at the very first moment of the game.
Oh, that was brilliant.
But I loved how hard it is. It's a challenge. But I also love the fact that they don't... I want to put this the right way so it's not misunderstood. They play off suspense and anxiety more than just the obvious, I'm just going to chuck hordes at you.
Yes.
All the way through.
Yeah.
It's more that you've got this sense the whole way through of what's about to happen, I'm not sure.
Exactly.
And they do that so well.
And they've done that more so in the remake than the first one. That's what I was trying to say with that opening scene, going through the house.
And the garden and stuff.
And the garden. And then coming out of the window and they're there watching you. Instead of you just being in enemies, you're like, oh, that could have been something else, And I feel like they've made the remake a little bit darker, vibe.
Yes.
Everything feels a little bit more gloomy. And they really got that well in the GameCube version specifically, but this one I think plays on that really well, even though this was a way away from survival horror in terms of Resident Evil games. 1, 2 and 3 and 0 were more survival horror, whereas this was more action. But with the remake specifically, it definitely feels a bit more you get that more tense feeling, don't you?
Yeah.
It's
got more of the survival horror vibes to it.
Yeah. Even though when you get to the village, there's loads of them,
mow them down. Yeah.
But you still feel because there's so many that you can't just stand there and pop them off. I mean, I tried.
Well, I tried being really clever. I was like, I'll just go all the way around the outside and just see if I can pick one off one at a time. And you're like, mate, you're just going to have to get on with it. They're going to come for you eventually.
They're going to find you, But you did stealth kill the woman with the pitchfork or whatever. And that was great. And then you walked around the corner and shot one guy. And then I said, they're going to be right behind you. Turned. There was a dude right there. And you're like, ah!
There was a few moments of that. Finally, I got impaled by a fork.
Yes. Yeah, that was great. And then I was like, oh, let's have a go. And I'll take on, the chainsaw dude.
You got Mortal Kombat.
I went upstairs, picked up the shotgun ammo, went to reload, and he just sawed me in half. Didn't he? Literally,
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, literally just
KO. Finish him.
But,
I'm really excited for it. Genuinely.
But the village is very authentic to the first game. They kept the village very similar in terms of layout. What I loved was the clock tower, the bell tower.
The developers having a laugh with you is is the perfect thing.
It was so good because obviously in the first one, you go up there and you can basically stay up there. I mean, it gets set on fire, they're throwing Molotovs and stuff, but you can pretty much stay up there.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll go up into the bell tower this time. Went up, went into the corner, picked something up, and then the freaking floor falls down and you're in with like 5 of them and you can't get out. And it's like, oh no!
They punish you for being clever.
Yeah, it was just so good. Those little things that are like, oh, we know you like this in the original. Still here, but we're going to mess with you.
But what's great about that is exactly that. What's great about that is that the developers acknowledging that this is going to be played by people that played the original. And if you think all the little hacks that you remember from the original or that you've YouTubed or whatever are going to work, you're wrong. Because we know them and we're going to make sure that you fail harder because of it.
Exactly. But that's what I love is that they've kept that core sense of the game.
Yeah.
And still managed to change stuff because I was really skeptical being such a big fan of the original. I'm sure that's how you felt with the Final Fantasy remake.
I was terrified.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was like, and I was thinking, oh man, this literally is one of the best games ever made.
Yeah.
There's going to be so many people like me that are on the fence thinking, should they have changed it?
Yeah.
And then actually getting in and playing it, the first thing you don't even realize is being able to move and shoot.
Yeah.
You take that for granted. You start playing the remake and you're like, oh, hang on. This just makes sense. Whereas obviously in the original, you had to plant your feet.
I didn't even consider
get your laser sight out.
Yeah, no, I didn't even consider it until you said, like, they've implemented that since. Remember what it was like in the old Resident Evil games? Like, oh yeah, you had to stand still, aim and shoot, and then
even
move.
with the knife, stand still.
And of course, the original Resident Evil 4 was like that.
Yep.
It makes, to me, it makes it more of a survival game and less of an action game if you can move, because it's promoting, like, you need to think about what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
And the fact that they've taken out some of those hacks, like, oh, just go up the bell tower, just shoot them through the floor, you'll be fine. Those kind of things just nod at, like, we know what we're doing here. It's all very purposeful.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's not just a frame for frame remake.
No. And supposedly, because I've not completed the game yet, like I'm still right at the beginning, really. But supposedly they've added whole new like bits in, like new puzzles and stuff. But just feeling that like first like hour, I think they've really done this well, like in terms of they've thought about all the hardcore fans and the new and gone, what are the things we can change, like being able to move and shoot and stuff that's going to be just quality of life improvements for modern players, and what are some of the old school people going to look at and laugh? Because obviously if you were playing that and went up the bell tower, you wouldn't have thought anything of it.
No.
But for someone like that's played the original to death, oh, I see what you did there, so I can't wait to see what else they've done. But yeah, I mean, for me, the merchant voice, I know that's changed, and that saddens me. Like, it really does. And I did a short, and people were like, "Oh yeah, it's a remake." It's like, yeah, but just rehire the guy. You know? Like, and it sounds pretty good. Do you know what I mean? Like, they've taken his sort of persona.
If you didn't know, like me, if you didn't know the difference, sounds fine.
Yeah, no, it sounds great. He's
I
good.
I didn't even notice the character. That's how fine it was.
Yeah.
And when I look back at the old merchant, obviously I've YouTubed it, and I mean, to be fair, he did sound like a pirate before.
He was a pirate, basically. He was great, but I loved that, like, again, we've taken the mick at the beginning, but his voice is so iconic, and he was my favorite character, probably other than Leon, but, in the game, because you always come up against him the whole way through, and he's getting more infected, and it's like, it's amazing. But I loved that. And obviously now he's got more like lines and stuff, which is great. And they've tried to like expand upon him and freshen him up a bit. But I just wish they kept either the same audio or like rehired the guy if he's still around. Because it was brilliant. I love referring to him. But yeah, so that's changed. And the other thing has changed is, Leon being a pervert.
Ashley skirt.
So yeah, in the original,
that's just infamous.
Yeah, you could basically just look up at Ashley's skirt at any point. You weren't even meaning to. Like, they like designed her to fall so you could see her pants and stuff, and that was just how it was. And if you looked, then she would go, "Leon, you pervert!" Like, what are you looking at, Leon? Like, and then after that, she'd be like, "Leon, help!" because she's always just getting dragged away. But yeah, so that's all gone now.
Yeah, I guess it's for the best.
Yeah. I mean, we're modern times. We're not in the early 2000s anymore.
But, if I was a teenage boy again, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing that I haven't come across yet, but supposedly, is she doesn't have a health bar anymore, which I'm really happy about. So
yeah,
there's two bars of health that
Yeah.
I'm not happy about. Right, I'm happy that Ashley's health bar is gone because constantly she's getting dragged away, and you're constantly having to use your herbs and stuff on her instead of you
Which
in
is
the old
annoying.
game.
Yeah.
Really difficult because obviously they're not infinite, right? So it's hard. So I'm happy that they're gone away, and instead she just gets dragged away. You just save her, and she's all right. Like she's just invulnerable, or whatever. It's fine. But now your knife has a health bar, and I don't know how I feel about that.
I know why they've done it. Again, it's to promote more of the survival side than the action side.
Yeah, I suppose it's one way to make you feel more tense.
Yeah, everything's very
strategic.
purposeful in those decisions.
Yeah, true.
So it feels more like a Resident Evil game where every last resource is scarce.
True, which is Resident Evil, really.
Yes,
That's what
totally.
you think of when you play Resi.
The frustration of like, oh, do I have to use a third bullet on him?
Should I bullet him? Should I try and like roundhouse kick, or should I use my knife? Yeah. So you do have to think. Whereas before in number 4, you could just slash.
Yeah, and the knife being infinite was always like the ultimate safety net.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
But now if that goes,
yeah, that's true. Yeah, because you could pretty much solo any boss with a knife if you were skilled enough in the first one.
Yeah.
Whereas no, they ain't got no chance of that.
yeah, so it's frustrating, but it'll make you have to think more.
Yeah, definitely. I just, because I'm still right early on, I don't know how I feel about it yet.
Yeah.
You know, like,
I mean, I can be really like calm about it until I'm in the situation where it stops working.
Yeah, exactly.
Then I'll be really angry.
No bullets, no knife.
What do you do?
Die.
There's going to be those moments where you're like halfway through a boss fight.
and you need it and it dies.
Yeah, you're like, and that's the furthest you've got, you know?
Yeah.
Your knife goes. It's going to happen.
That is frustrating. But
and you're an hour away from a typewriter.
well, you're saying that, and I just want to divert a little bit. Played through Resident Evil 0. Amazing game. It's old, right? I think it was on GameCube as well. And Christina and I played it. And the final boss, we decided to leave the knife in the storage box and take a weapon instead.
Oh my God.
We ran out of ammo.
Yeah.
You cannot complete the game without the knife at least, because literally the game breaks. Like you have to restart the game from the beginning. You can't backtrack save. It auto saves over your previous save.
No.
So like literally it's like, that's it, game over. You cannot do it. I spent days and days and days Googling, trying to research, how can you finish the final boss without the knife? You cannot. There's not enough ammo there with how much we started with to actually kill the boss. You could get him to his third, mutation.
Yeah.
But you cannot take him out. So we had to just quit the game and just walk away. We had to Google the end of it, like when we originally played it.
There's no way you're
can't finish
replaying it at that point either.
No,
is there? Like you haven't got the stomach for it.
No. Because 0 was one that I didn't play until like years later.
Yeah.
And I played it with Christina, and yeah, we couldn't finish it. Spent days trying to do it. Couldn't. So that's what I mean. Like, I know the frustration of that. So now the freaking thing's got a health bar. I'm like, what's going to happen?
Can I ask?
Yeah.
Are you going to get it on PlayStation as well?
I when I was driving down here,
I bet you could
I
contemplate it.
literally was considering it. I was, yeah. I was like, oh man, I love playing it on the Steam Deck, and I'm probably just going to play the whole game on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, of course.
But Resident Evil 4 it's like a movie that you're happy to watch over and over and over again.
I quite happily watch someone play the whole game.
Yeah. And there's certain films or games where you can just replay forever, even though you know everything about it, and you're just like, I just want to play that again.
Yeah.
This is that game for me.
Yeah.
And that's why I've played 4, like the original, so many times, because there just comes a time where I go, I want to play Resi 4, and then I just do, and playing it on the Steam Deck, especially with how well it runs currently, and of course the thing of playing it anywhere you want is great. And I do have a gaming PC at home, so if I want to play it on the telly, I could just hook it up. So I could do that.
Okay,
So,
yeah, fair point.
But I don't know if the haptics and everything work. If I don't know if the DualSense is configured on PC, and I'd love to experience the haptic feedback and the adaptive triggers, because every gun will feel different.
The triggers will be amazing.
Exactly. That's so I'm like, oh man, I'd love to buy it on PS5. And the other reason, which is what you touched on earlier, I'd love to have the physical.
Yeah.
But I've already bought the collector's edition. The deluxe edition on PC. So it's like, do I really want to spend like 70 quid or whatever it is?
I'll tell you what to do.
PS5?
What I'm probably do as like not a massive Resident Evil fan, but someone that enjoys the games, I'll probably wait for it to get cheaper.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Drop in price.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there was a game, I'll just sidestepping on that.
Yeah.
It's a game Christina's been playing on the PlayStation Plus subscription service.
Yeah.
Well, we stopped paying for it because we weren't playing it enough. So now she can't play that one game that she wanted. It's been a few years now. I'll let you into a secret. It's a Final Fantasy game. And
don't tell me. Which one is it?
And I bought it on eBay last night for £3 for her. So we don't have to resubscribe to PlayStation Plus.
Which one was it?
Final Fantasy 14 or 15.
£3?
15, yeah, £3 on eBay.
That's
obviously second hand. But
yeah, who cares?
That's cheaper than £60 or whatever it is for the PlayStation subscription. And now we own it.
Incredible.
So yeah, she'll enjoy that. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I'd love to buy Resi 4 Remake, and I probably might end up doing that, but I don't know. I've got it on Steam Deck. I can play it on a PC.
Yeah. I think the sensible part, you've answered the sensible version,
yeah,
but I know you're not sensible.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You're going to do it.
No, I'd love to have the box up on the shelf or whatever.
You're going to get the collector's edition.
I wish.
It's like
so
200 quid or something.
Yeah. I would have done that if I could. But anyway, I think that if you've never played Resident Evil 4, then what are you doing? Go out the door with AJ. And if you want to play it, I'd say try the remake first.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's a well-worthy buy and
Totally.
easy one to jump into.
And if you absolutely die hard love it and you want to experience the original, then just play the original on however you can, whether that's PC, Switch, whatever, you know, because the original is still fantastic.
Yeah.
But this remake, I'm digging it. And I cannot wait to play more.
Yeah.
I really can't. And I can't wait to hear your thoughts after you've completed it.
Obviously, I'm
whenever
going
that
to
is.
complete it.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at completing games.
So am I.
I guess that about wraps it up for this
I think
week.
so. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for joining us. If you're listening, make sure you rate this podcast wherever you found it.
Please.
If you're watching on YouTube, you know what to do. The buttons are below. You know, do all that stuff.
Press our buttons.
Yeah, and until next time, we'll see you next time.
No. Wait.
What?
Check out this video here.
Oh!
And maybe this one down here as well.
Blah, blah, blah,
which
blah,
you've
blah.
probably seen anyway. But anyway, bye.